And so I guess obviously you have to adjust the permissions and then let yourself settle back into receptivity, settle back into reflection. Start to slow down your breath. And let's see if we can feel into the points of the breath, because the points of the breath mirror the lunar cycle, the seasonal cycle, and it kind of lets us find our place, right? Find our space. So allow the inhale to move from the belly to the heart, breathing all the way up to the top of the breath, and see if you can just pause at the top. Just notice that space at the top. And then as you exhale, feel the chest release, feel the belly release, exhale everything out. And then again, notice the space at the bottom of the exhale. And just do that for a few rounds. So inhale fully and deeply, really appreciate and enjoy that breath in. Allow that pause at the top to experience the fullness, the height of the breath. And then allow yourself to really tune into the exhale, that release out. And then feeling that space at the bottom, that space of potential and emptiness. And so we move in a cycle, right? Like we are not really linear beings. We are cyclical beings, just like everything else on this planet. We have a relationship to cycle. And the lunar cycle begins with the new moon, and then it waxes to the full moon and then the waning moon. So in a sense, the inhalation is the waxing cycle of the moon, where the moon gets bigger and fuller in the sky. The full moon is the top. The waning cycle is the exhale, where the moon begins to come out later and later. And then the exhale, bottom of the exhale, is that dark new moon. And as I mentioned, this Sunday is the new moon of August. And so we're kind of in that exhalation, coming into that bottom point to start this new lunar cycle. And then the seasonal cycle also follows it. So the spring is like the inhale, right? We're getting more light, more warmth, things are growing. The top of the breath is the summer solstice, where in the Northern Hemisphere, we experience that in June. And then we start to come into the exhale as we move into the late summer, into the fall, before the winter solstice, which is again the bottom of the exhale, which is the most dark, but also the beginning of the new cycle. And so we sort of find ourselves in that beginning, that exhalation in our solar cycle. So we're just starting to come out of that summer solstice. We're halfway. So today is the exact midpoint between that summer solstice and that fall equinox energy. And so we're seeing a little bit of diminishment of light historically. So if we look back at the Celtic ancestors, a lot of us find our families in that calendar. This was the celebration of Lunasa, which Lu is the god of light, the deity of light. And this was a celebration for the grain goddess. The relationship between the sun of light and the grain goddess. And this is the first harvest. When that holiday was sort of shifted into more of a Christian view, it became Lammas, which is easier to say than Lunasa. And Lammas means loaf mass. And so the first harvest was the wheat and the grain and all of those things. So the way we celebrate the first harvest, the way our ancestors celebrated the first harvest, was through starting to cook all this bread. So the fall equinox is connected to the harvest, where we move more into like we're really harvesting all of the vegetables, all of the things, because we have to prepare the fields for winter. This is the first harvest. So we are celebrating the first harvest, the midpoint between the solstice and the equinox. We are in the shadow of the new moon. And so this is a really good part of the cycle to pause. And so I've asked you to kind of focus on your breath, to really feel the inhale, the pause, the exhale, the pause. And as you let yourself get into that flow, just start to notice the sensations as we come into that beginning exhale. And even again, that bottom of the exhale, which is where we are energetically. And there was a little thing from the wee moon on Lammas I wanted to read. There is no harvest without celebration. There is no harvest without celebration. We receive what we have been given, what we have worked for, and what has been shared with all the creative abundance we can muster. Generosity moves many ways. It is in the giving, yes, and also in the reception. Also in the wonder that we share about what can exist. Also in the reflection we offer to each other, complex in all our parts, celebrating the wholeness of self and others. Take pride in this abundance. Care for it by reveling in its strength and possibility. Be a love letter to generosity, exploring every inch of its beautiful ways. Come together in service and joy. And so as we enter this week, book ended between the holy day of Lammas, Lunasa, and then Sunday we have the new moon in Leo. We've talked about the Leo energy, the courage, the fire, the devotion. Lunasa, Lammas asks us to celebrate the first harvest. It's also the first sacrifice of the season. The grain goddess gives up her body to make the bread. And so as we enter this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, we start to accept that we are moving towards less light. We are moving towards the fall. We are moving towards the winter. So following your breath, again, we have that build up to the top of the inhale, and then we start to exhale. Now, exhaling is really good, right? Like sometimes to take the exhale feels so good when we're like, oh, that's done, I'm done, right? Like the exhale can feel so good, but it is also where we empty out. It is also where we start to create that space around the darkness and the release and the change of season. And so in the practice today, I simply want to hold space for where we are in the cycle. I want to hold space for the celebration and the first harvest and for the sacrifice and acceptance. And for each one of us to be able to kind of gather where it is we are and how we move forward into the next 6 weeks of this season. So as we're finishing the summer, as we officially move into the fall, how do you want to contribute to that? Right? Like, how do you want to start to move towards the fall? How are you going to use the light? Right? We talked about that last week, like really sustaining that fire and that life force. And so just allowing space for reflection in the practice today, space for sort of celebration and reflection. The waning cycle of the moon is also traditionally where we're sort of turning in for more reflection. So just know as you're moving through this week that you are moving through these sort of gateways between the solar and the lunar year, that we are in this transitional period, and just be really mindful with how you celebrate, how you serve, how you breathe into this week, and just sort of notice what sort of abundance appears, where you can be grateful, generous, abundant, and also where we need to sort of step back into our own sustenance and service. So take another big, big breath in through the nose. Enjoy that breath, filling your body all the way up. Hold it at the top. Feel the height of the inhale. And then enjoy the exhale. Sigh it out. Let it go. And then again, just hold that bottom with reverence, that emptiness. And then again, do that again. Take a big breath in and just sip in all that prana, life force. Hold it at the top, the height of abundance. And then that exhale where we are of service, where we are of generous, where we extend out. And then that place at the bottom where we are empty. And you know, we have to empty sometimes. We have to empty out. If we're always walking around as a full cup, that water gets stagnant and we can never learn anything else. We can never do anything else. And so we offer reverence for all phases of this cycle as we sit in this cross-quarter holy day between solstice and equinox. Go ahead and hug your knees into your chest, depending on where you are in the space. Give yourself a big hug. Honor your body for making it halfway through the summer or through the season. Almost beginning a new lunar cycle. And the cycles just keep on moving. We continue to pass through these points, and we have these opportunities to pause, reflect, celebrate. And the new moon is the best time of the month for intention. So as we use this week to kind of be in that reverence of the midsummer, the mid-season, and then once we come to that new moon, we can really set intentions for how we want to utilize the final weeks of this cycle. Go ahead and bring yourself up to sit. Find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for your body today. Place a hand to heart, hand to belly, arriving. Feel your sit bones, and let's just take a moment to rock and breathe and arrive in gratitude for the generosity of the moment, gratitude for your body, for your breath, for your life, for the elements that move through you. Gratitude for the land that you sit upon. Maybe you are aware of the land you are on. I am on Chumash land. Offering gratitude to the land, to the sky, to the sea, to the earth. Offer gratitude to those around you that allow you to be in the position you are, the privileges and benefits in your life, your friends, family, community. And then just consider if there's anything specific to these last 6 weeks. Anything specific you want to offer gratitude to, and that might be a challenge. There may have been a challenge that emerged these last 6 weeks during the summer that you had to rise to or that you had to surrender to. And so when we celebrate, it's not always just about the victories. It's also celebrating moving through the losses, moving through the challenges that we have arrived here. And just feel into your heart, gratitude, courage, service, generosity. Pause. Take another big breath in. Sigh it out. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach up. Exhale, pull the hands down. We'll do that again. And if you want to tone the sound of Om with me, you can. Inhale, reach up. You can also just hum. Om. Bow your head to your heart. Place your hands on your shins. Just begin to circle your spine. So it might be little circles, big circles. Just allow yourself to start to create some movement. Creating that circle, that spiral, that the breath follows, that the moon follows around the earth follows around the sun. Moving through these various points in the body, in the month, and the time of year. And August, August is always really interesting. In some ways, it's like the hottest month of the summer and the last month of the summer. In Southern California, the kids start school in August. My son is starting school mid-month, and it always says, I grew up on the East Coast. And so it's always so weird to me because school should start in September. It makes more sense for that to start, as we move into the fall, but all the different things that happen in August. Coming up towards this August new moon. And go ahead and reverse the direction. And so celebration and acceptance, celebration and generosity, celebration and service. I went to a workshop many years ago around Lamas, around Lunasada, around this cross-border day. And they really sort of, the emphasis was on it being about sacrifice, on being, and sakra, comes from the word sacred. So a sacred offering is really what sacrifice means. And this was the holy day where we start to consider what it is we are sacrificing as we lose light, right? As we start to move more towards dark. Did I say reverse directions already? If I didn't, go ahead and do that. We'll just do this a little bit longer. If you haven't already reversed directions, reverse it again. And that always really stuck with me because, of course, there is this big celebration. It's the first harvest halfway through the summer. But yeah, we are starting to look at what are the sacred offerings as we start to move more towards less light as the summer starts to wane in the Northern Hemisphere. Next time your heart moves forward, bring your hands out and just allow yourself a little forward fold. So forward folds connect us to that reflective quality. And depending on how you're sitting, you may be able to walk out further. You can always use props under the arms or the hands. Deepen your breath. Opening up the back body. So we'll have this little pulsation of like opening and closing in the practice today, opening up towards the midsummer, and then also feeling into the dark new moon and the call towards, offering. Take another breath, side out, roll yourself up. If you're sitting cross-legged, go ahead and switch the cross. Otherwise, just make sure your seat is still appropriate. Up on your sitting bones, spine lifted up and out of the pelvis. Inhale, bring your arms up, stretch up through the side body, ground through your hips. Inhale, exhale, take the left hand behind you, right hand to the left knee. Inhale, bring the arms back up. You can bend the elbows, exhale, twist. So just flowing through the twist. Twists help us to clarify and clear out. So the harvesting of the wheat, the harvesting of the grains, we start to separate the wheat from the chaff. Obviously, most of us don't do that. I've never separated wheat from anything in my life. No idea what it's really like to harvest grains and bread, right? Other than the metaphor of it. But it's work. It is work. And as we start to move towards the dissolution of summer, we do get more into service. We do get more into work. But first, we have this celebration. We have this sort of opening up so that we can be prepared for that. And so, Lamas, we get that little taste of both celebration and service. Try to relax the shoulders down the back. Keep the spine lifted. Let your head comfortably follow the rest of the spine. And whatever side you twist to next, go ahead and hold. Lean back into the twist, soften the jaw. You can look whatever direction works for you, towards the same side or opposite side, or even just out towards your hand. Feel that gentle twist, that gentle release. Now you can just stay in the twist, or whatever hand is behind you, you're going to reach it up and overhead and stretch towards that opposite knee. So you still have your twisted hand on that opposite knee, but we're reaching that other side up and over, opening the side body, soften the jaw. Oh, and then pull yourself back up into that twist. See if you can twist a little more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, twist to your other side. Settle into that twist. Relax your shoulders. Draw the belly and lean back. Shake out your head a little bit. Soften your jaw. And then again, you can stay in the twist, or the hand behind you, you're going to reach up and over towards that other knee. So you're still pulling on one knee with your twist hand. Other arm is coming up and over towards the other side, creating some space in the side body and in the chest. And then bring it back up into the twist, rinse it out a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, unwind, walk your hands forward, second side. So just feeling into, if you're cross-legged, you might be feeling a little bit of a hip opener. Otherwise, anytime we forward fold, there's sort of the bowing of the heart, the releasing of the back body, turning inward for reflection. And I always, anytime we hit these points of the solstice, the equinox, or the midpoints between, they're always reflection points, just like the new and the full moon, where we're pausing before we move forward with the actions that are appropriate for the cycle and season. Take another big breath and let it go. Go ahead and bring yourself up, stretch your legs out, a little shake. And then bring your body up to stand at the front or the back of your mat, however your home practice space is set up. Feet hip width distance apart, toes facing forward, shoulders down, mountain pose, Tadasana. Chin is parallel to the earth, belly draws in, feel your whole body come online, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. Extending down through your fingertips. And again, just feel that gratitude for the midpoint of the season, the completion of another lunar cycle. And then inhale, gather it up. Exhale, the right arm down, left arm over, stretch. Inhale up, exhale, left arm down, right arm over. And then bring it up, inhale, exhale, soft knees forward, fold. You can always put blocks or a chair underneath for the hands to land on, hands to shins or thighs, lengthen up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gather it up, reach. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up, left arm down, the left leg, right arm overhead. Inhale up, right arm down. Inhale up, exhale, fold through center. Soft knees, inhale up halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale all the way up, reach, hands to heart. Good, again, inhale up. Exhale, right arm down, left arm overhead. Inhale up, exhale, left arm down. Inhale up, exhale, fold through the middle. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Hands to heart. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale. Exhale, right arm down. Inhale. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. This time stay here. Take some breaths. Bend your knees, wiggle it out, warm up the hamstrings. Turning inward. And then slowly roll it all the way up. Back into your mountain. And then just make sure you're at least in the middle or the top of the mat. Just so if you were at the back of the mat, move forward. If you're at the top, you can stay where you are. Widen your feet just a little bit. So it's more like outer hip distance. And then again, inhale, reach it up. As you exhale, bend your knees, hands to heart, sit into a chair pose, weight into the heels. So you don't have to bend too much. Make sure we're being mindful of the knees. Draw the belly and lift the chest. So just a little bit of work for lamas. Lift the heart, squeeze the legs, pull the belly in, take a breath. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen, and then step the right foot back just about 6 inches. So if you need blocks or a chair or any other support under your hands, grab for that. But square the hips with that right foot behind you. So this is pyramid pose, if you're familiar. Hips are square. Feeling a lot more energy up through that left calf and the hamstrings. Bowing in, turning in. Take a breath. Exhale here. Step that right foot up, feet back to outer hip width distance apart. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Hands to heart, sit into that chair pose. Again, squeeze the legs, sit back, draw the belly in, a little bit of work. Relax your shoulders, lift your spine, take a deep breath. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, lengthen, left foot steps back about 6 inches. Square the hips, grab for any support you need under the shoulders or hands. And then allow yourself to bow towards that right leg. Again, creating more sensation through the calf and the hamstrings. Folding in, let the head and neck go. Inhale. Exhale, step that back foot up. Inhale up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach it all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart, sit into that chair. Squeeze the legs, lift your heart, pull the belly in. Inhale. Exhale, fold over the legs, let it go. Just enjoy the fold, wiggle it out, stretch it out. And then bend your knees, slowly roll it all the way up into your mountain pose, opening the chest, softening the jaw. Inhale, reach the arms up, right hand holds left wrist, pull up and over into the side bend, ground your heels, soften the jaw. And then inhale, bring it up. As you exhale, take that right arm behind you, twist, standing twist. Roll the shoulders down, hips are forward, stretch through the fingertips. Exhale. Inhale, come back to center. Left hand grabs right wrist, pull up and over into that side bend. Press your feet down, soften your elbows, draw the belly in. And then inhale, bring it up, left hand behind you, standing twist, keeps the hips forward, roll your shoulders down, big stretch. And then inhale, bring it back up, exhale, forward fold. Soften your knees. And you're either going to step back to all fours or down dog. So if down dog is appropriate, you can step back to down dog for a breath or two. Otherwise, take your time maybe to pad the knees to come to all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. If you're in down dog, take another breath and then exhale, lower to all fours as well. So coming into tabletop. Press down through your hands, tuck your toes. Now, if you can't be on your knees, you can come to sit for a moment. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, cow pose. Exhale into cat. So just moving through the rhythm of cat and cow, feeling back into those points of the breath. Full inhale to open to cow, little pause at the top. Full exhale to arch to cat, little pause at the bottom. Follow your breath. And so this filling and emptying is one of the primary sort of relationships of duality that we have to work with as humans. Because we know when we have too much, we get sick, right? Like if you have too much of anything in your system, your body will start to work to get rid of it. But if we don't have enough, then that's a totally other different problem, right? When we're deficient in something, when there's not enough. And so we're always playing with this pulsation of filling and emptying. And those of you who do work with the moon cycles with me, we talk about that a lot, that in a lot of the indigenous nations, quality of life was knowing when enough was enough. And a lot of things in our collective culture is we don't know that. We don't know when enough's enough. We fill up until we're sick and then we empty until we're sick, right? So these seasons, we have this opportunity of like, how do I have celebration with service, right? Generosity with offering. You know, how do I continue to take care, nurture, and sustain my life force while also giving away what, you know, needs to be released? Because we do. If we're just full cups all the time, then there's nothing new to learn and we grow stagnant, right? Still water is pretty dangerous. But if we're empty, then we have nothing to give. So as you just move through this rhythm, we feel into all those points. And this week is an opportunity to sort of notice where we are on this cycle, in this circle, to reflect, to be grateful, and then choose the appropriate actions for us as we move into this final lunar cycle of the summer. Essentially, the midsummer for sure. Couple more rounds. And then next time you round into cat, arch back, push back into child's pose. If you're seated, you can bring the soles of the feet together and just fold over the legs. Otherwise, coming into a child's pose, releasing. You can be on the forearms, the forehead, you can be on props. Feeling into the exhale. Deep, deep breath in. So really enjoy that breath in. Hold at the top. And then open mouth, exhale everything out. Pause at the bottom. Slowly bring yourself up to all fours. If you can't be on the knees, you can come to stand. And we'll just find our little bit of balancing flow. So what this looks like from tabletop is as you inhale, you extend the right leg and possibly the left arm, and then lower down. And then you alternate. If you can't be on the knees and you're standing, this can simply look like, again, just lifting one knee at a time, or same thing, lifting the opposite arm and leg. And you might even keep the toes down, or you can lift up. So kind of similar idea, especially with the core and the brain. Doesn't really matter if you're sitting or standing in that way, or kneeling or standing. So again, what's the appropriate sacrifice for the shape, the appropriate offering for the shape? And take your time, move with your breath. Just balancing the hemispheres, a little bit of core work. And then hold whatever side you're on, whatever that looks like. So find your balance at this point in the wheel. What does balance look like? Breathe into it. And then switch sides. Take your time. Another breath. And release. Push back into that child's pose or down dog, or if you're standing, you can just fold over the legs. Take another big breath in and out. And then we'll all transition back into ragdoll, so folding over the legs, so take your time to get there. Shake it out. And then roll it up to stand. And feel the body come online. Feet are slightly wider than your hips. Shoulders draw down, reach through your fingertips, draw the belly in. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, right arm down, big stretch. And then bring it up and over to the left. Inhale it up. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart, sit back into your chair. Squeeze the legs, lift the heart, draw the belly in. Take a big breath. Exhale, fold it down. Step the right foot back, so that's 6 inches. So back into that pyramid. Walk your hands under your shoulders or onto blocks or chair, following the heart towards the leg. Squeeze the legs in, lengthen your spine, and then keeping your right hand on the block or chair or floor, take your left hand to your left hip. Slide back, open your chest. Breathing into the IT band, into the twist, into that opening, twisted triangle. Big inhale. Exhale, fold back over the leg. Step the right foot up. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bring it up. Left arm down the left leg, right arm overhead. Inhale up, right arm down. Inhale, bring it up, hands to heart one more time into your chair. Squeeze the legs, lift the heart. Big breath. Exhale, fold it down. Step the left foot back about 6 inches, using any support you need to make this pose appropriate. Bowing towards that front leg, square the hips. And then lengthen your spine up. Keep the left hand down, right hand to right hip. Start to gently rotate towards the right. Keep the hips square, squeeze the legs. Take another full round of breath. And then slowly release. Step the back foot up, fold over the legs. Let yourself bow in here. Shake out your head. You can soften the knees. And then bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees. Lower your bottom down to the mat. Knees are bent, squeeze the legs together. Hands behind the hamstrings. Let's come into our boat. Keep your heart lifted. You can also place your hands by your hips. If you want a little more, you can lift your arms or play with lifting one or both legs. So heart stays lifted, a little bit of work in the core. Soften the jaw, lift up. So that celebration, even in the sacrifice, the sacred offering, midsummer, mid-season. Lift up through the chest, take a breath, exhale, place it down, give yourself a hug. We'll do that one more time in case we're alternating legs. Squeeze the knees together, lift up, lean back. And find your appropriate offering here. So hands can be at the hamstrings or on the mat, chest lifted, maybe one or both feet lifted, the arms. A lot of options here. What's available, what's appropriate for you today. Staying with the breath, lifting up through the chest. Big, big breath in. And then exhale, bring it down, stretch your legs out long. Woo, shake them out, rock them out, release the hip flexors. The hip flexors kind of combined in both. And then move your flesh up and back, bend your knees. So your belly comes towards your thighs. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, draw forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale forward and bow. And you can keep the knees bent or start to kick the legs straight. Soften. Take just a few breaths, shift any way you need to. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Roll yourself up, bend your knees. We're going to come onto the back. If you have a block or a firm pillow or like a hardbound book, make sure you have that nearby. And then roll down onto the mat. Hug the right knee into the chest. Stretch your left leg out or keep the left knee bent and just hug that right knee in for a moment. Massage the head, the shoulders, the tailbone. Lengthen your spine. And then take the left hand to the right knee. Relax your right arm to the right. Cross the body, rolling into a twist. You can shift your hips a little bit to the right. You can always put some pillows to catch the leg. If this is too deep of a twist, you can instead just stack your knees and then roll them to one side. This is a pretty cleansing twist here. So just be mindful if you need a more gentle twist. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, unwind, hug that right knee in. Bend the left leg up, cross the right ankle over the left thigh for the hip stretch. You can just scooch the left heel in as you guide the right thigh open, or if you want to hug behind the left leg, you can. Massage the tailbone, the shoulders, the back of the head. Just breathe into that hip opening. Come back to the cycle of the breath as we move into our supine sequence. Really connecting as you inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Slowly release the left leg, extend it out. Hug the right knee in one more time. And then release that right leg out. Stretch the body long for a moment. So reach out through your arms and your legs, feel your whole body, and then exhale, hug the left knee. You can place the right foot on the ground. Otherwise, just enjoy a little rock, a little release of the left side. We are going to come into the twist, so just be mindful if you need a different variation to make sure you're prepared. And then as you're ready, right hand to left knee, left arm out, pull that left knee across the body, maybe shifting your hips a little bit more towards center. Roll the shoulder down, or again, you can just stack the knees and let them plop to that other side if this is too much of an intense twist. Connect to your breath. So as you move through this week, just really feeling into that cyclical breath, taking inventory, taking stock of where you are, and the gratitude and generosity and celebration, as well as the opportunities for reflection, for reviewing the sacrifices made, or perhaps the sacrifices required as you move forward, the actions to take moving forward. Inhale, draw that left knee back in, place the right foot down. So take a moment to hug the left knee in, and then cross the ankle over the thigh. Right foot might slide in, or you can hold behind the leg. And just let yourself breathe, rock into this side. Allowing that release in the hip and the glute. Big breath in. Exhale it out, place the right foot down, hug that left knee in. And then place both feet on the mat, hip width distance. We're going to come into supported bridge. Now, of course, you're always welcome to take active bridge if you want. But again, if you'd like to have the more reflective pose, knees bent, feet down, roll your hips up into bridge, and then slide support under your sacrum, tailbone. So that flat little triangle area of the low back, and gather your shoulders underneath, let your knees drop together. You also have the option of drawing the knees in and up for more of a supported shoulder stand, or sliding the legs out. That will open up the hip flexors a bit more. Or just keeping the feet on the earth. And again, this is one of my favorite poses for just pausing, even if I've had a more active practice, to just kind of pause in the supported heart opener, because we are opening the heart. Slow down the breath. There is no harvest without celebration. We receive what we have been given, what we have worked for, and what has been shared with all the creative abundance we can muster. Generosity moves many ways. It is in the giving, yes, and also in the reception, also in the wonder that we share about what can exist, also in the reflection we offer to each other, complex in all our parts, celebrating the wholeness of self and others. Take pride in this abundance, care for it by reveling in its strength and possibility. Be a love letter to generosity, exploring every inch of its beautiful ways, come together in service and joy. Those are the words of Mayana Welty from the Mother Tongue Inc. 2020. Lamas. Take a deep breath in. Fill up to the top. Enjoy the pause of fullness. And then begin to exhale slow and steady until you finally get to the bottom, and you can again just sort of revel in that emptiness before the cycle begins again. And if your legs are anywhere but knees bent, feet on the mat, go ahead and come back to that position of supported bridge or bridge pose. Press your feet into the earth as you roll your hips up and move the support out, or excuse me, or roll to one side if that's easier. And let yourself pause for a moment, tailbone down, pressing your hands and feet and the base of the skull into the earth. And then you can draw your knees in. Take hold of the knees and rock and move and circle. And just ask yourself if there's anything the body needs before you come into relaxation. I like to leave a moment or two here, just in case, again, there's something else the body's craving, something that will make the practice feel more complete. Or if you do want to set up a more decadent shavasana, if you want to go put your legs up the wall or get pillows and props to lie back on, or even just to make your traditional shavasana more supportive, covering the eyes, support under your head, under your knees. Because shavasana is where we receive and also where we release. So for me, shavasana anytime is that still point between receiving and releasing. And especially when we are surrounded by the potency of the lunar and seasonal holy days, these shavasanas, we allow ourselves to just surrender into the cycle, to the wisdom of the dark moon, the almost new moon, the power of the midpoint between solstice and equinox. And here we are, in our little bubble on our mat, practicing, allowing ourselves to be this channel of light and dark and ebb and flow and full and empty. And it is so important to rest in gratitude for the blessings and the privileges, and also to release what is no longer serving, what is passing. We can't force the days to remain long. And so we appreciate these sunsets that come at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night in the Northern Hemisphere right now. I've been trying to mindfully go for a walk at night because I love being able to walk at that time of night during the summer. It is one of the things I grieve for when we shift into fall and winter. And so again, to really enjoy that, celebrate that, take it in. And that's sort of, like I said, the transition between Lammas and equinox is really like, what can we pack into these last 6 weeks of the season to support ourselves and also to allow us to be of service in our community. And so breathing, reflecting, receiving, checking in with your own journey at this point on the wheel. And as we come through this week to Sunday, we'll be visiting that new moon and setting intentions with courage and confidence for the final cycle of the summer. And for now, these next couple of minutes, let yourself relax and release. Held from below, embraced from above. Receiving what is needed, releasing what is not. If you let the breath go, feel back into that 4-part rhythm. And enjoy every part of it. The filling, the full, the emptying, the empty. And again, we're taught that quality of life, right? Because like when you're hungry, it's nice to eat, especially if you can eat good quality foods. But then, when you're full, you want to digest, you want your body to let it go. So we try to do all of those things as gracefully as possible, as consciously as possible. The filling, the full, the emptying, the empty. And the cross-quarter days, really for me sometimes are even more profound in the reflection, especially when they are aligned with the lunar days, because this is the midpoint of the season. And so we are reflecting from sort of the fullness of whatever this season is before we really start to let it go. And so honor yourself for coming to practice today. And hopefully you can bring that intention of celebration and reflection into your week, into this new moon. Take a big, big breath in. Pause. And then empty everything out. Pause. And then on your next breath in, begin to wiggle, stretch, shift, awaken. And you can rock and roll or just settle to one side. And if and when you are ready, you can join me seated to seal our Lunasa new moon practice. You can place your hands, your heart and belly, or in any way that feels appropriate for your body. Take a moment to ground into the body, the breath, the elements and energies, the ancestors, the land and sea and sky, all that we are grateful for and gratitude for today. And if you'd like to join me, we'll seal with the sound of Om, or you can just simply hum. Take a big breath. All blessings. And I bow to you. Thank you for practicing. And I hope to see you all soon.